Okay, so we are here today to discuss the student's evaluation. I am the student's case manager and the eval specialist. So the reason we are here today for the evaluation was to understand where the student is struggling. In the evaluation, there are test scores that it has become apparent that the student struggles with reading and writing but excels in math. So there are three broad scores. There are the reading, writing, and math. So the reading measures reading ability to decode, reading speed, reading comprehension. The math measures problem solving, number facility, automaticity, and reasoning. The writing measures spelling, writing fluency, and quality of expression. So within the three broad scores, there are a bunch of different test scores that I tested the student on. They are letter word identification, which measures the student's word identification, applied problems, which measures the student's ability to analyze and solve math problems, spelling, which measures the student's ability to write orally presented words correctly, passage comprehension, which measures the student's understanding of written text, calculation, which measures the student's ability to perform pencil and paper math computations, writing samples, which measures the student's ability to write, word attack, which measures the student's ability to the ability to decode skills to unfamiliar words, sentence reading fluency, which measures the student's ability to read and comprehend sentences quickly, math facts fluency, which measures the student's ability to rapidly apply calculation skills of single-digit numbers, and sentence writing fluency, which measures formulating and writing sample sentences rapidly. So there are different ways that we can score your student. So we take the number correct, and they gave us Woodcock-Johnson gives us a chart that has his number correct, and then they show you the which is called the standard score. So that describes the student's performance relative to the average performance of the other students within the same age range. And then the confidence interval, it gives us the confidence interval, the percentile rank, and the grade equivalent. So with those three, it puts your student it gives us a perspective of where your student is. So we're going to go through the standard score, percentile ranks, and grade equivalents of your student. So for the standard score, like I said, it describes a student's performance relative to their peers' performances. So for the broad reading and math, there is your student got an 82 based on his peers, which is on the lower end. And then the broad math was a 113, which is on the higher end. The broad written language is a 81, which is on the lower end. The letter word identification is an 81, which is on the lower end. The applied math or applied problems is a 102, which is right in the middle. The spelling, which is a 77, which is on the lower end. Passage comprehension is an 82, that's on the lower end. Calculation is a 117, which is on the higher end. Writing samples, which is an 89, that is on the lower end. Word attack is an 86, which is on the lower end. Sentence reading fluency, which is a 82, that is on the lower end. Math facts fluency, which is a 114, that's on the higher end. Sentence writing fluency, that is an 82, that is also on the lower end. So then we're going to go into percentile ranks. So percentile ranks are just like when you go to the doctors, they say your child is in the 96th percentile, which means they are above 96% of their peers, and they're 4% below their peers. So we're going to go through the broad reading in math and written language first, and then we'll go into the subtest scores. So the broad reading is in the 12th percentile. The broad math is in the 81st percentile. The broad written language is in the 10th percentile. The letter word identification, which is in the 10th percentile. Applied problems is in the 55th percentile. Spelling is in the 6th percentile. Passage comprehension is in the 12th percentile. Calculation is in the 87th percentile. Writing samples is in the 23rd percentile. Word attack is in the 18th percentile. Sentence reading fluency is in the 12th percentile. Math facts fluency is in the 82nd percentile. Sentence writing fluency is in the 12th percentile. So then we're going to go into the confidence interval, which is a range of values that is a specified probability that the value of the score stays within the curve. So they give us a curve of where their peers are at. So it goes up and then it goes down, and it's even across the board. So there is a thing called a standard deviation. So say your student has a score of 115 and the confidence interval is 15. So right in the middle, that's where you want your child, is in the 115 range. Each time you add or subtract 15, which is the standard deviation, which tells us how many deviations away from where we want the child to be, you add or subtract 15. So say they have a 97 on a test score. So they would be they'd be 2, but they're almost 1 standard deviation away, and we want them to get up to that 115. Or they have a 137. They are almost 2 standard deviations away. So in being ahead but not too far ahead is a good thing. But being behind but not too far behind is also a good thing, but we want to stay around where that bell curve peaks. So then we go into percentile ranking. Percentile ranking is a relative standard, we went through percentile ranks. So we're going to get into the grade equivalent. So the grade equivalent gives us a number. Say it's a 4.3. So the 4 is in the 4th grade. The 3 is in the 3rd month. So the 4 is the grade and the 3 is the month. So for the grade equivalent for the broad reading, it is a 1.9. So 1st grade, 9 month. Broad math is a 5.2. Broad written language is a 1.8. Letter word identification is a 1.9. Applied problems is a 3.9. Spelling is a 1.7. Passage comprehension is a 1.9. Calculation is a 5.7. Writing samples is a 2.0. Word attack is a 2.1. Sentence reading fluency is a 1.9. Math facts fluency is a 5.8. And sentence writing fluency is a 1.9. So what all of these mean, it just shows us as teachers and as parents that we're struggling that our student is struggling in writing and reading, but is perfectly fine in math. So the letter word identification, spelling, passage comprehension, writing sample, word attack, sentence, reading and writing fluency, they're all below the standard scores that the standard scores, percentile ranks, and grade equivalent compared to their peers. But the math facts, calculation, and applied problems are on the lower end based on his peers' percentile ranks, grade equivalent, and standard scores, but they are still within the range that we like to see. So then it goes into the comparison, interpretation, and summary of the data. So the comparison of the scores, which illustrates relative strengths and weaknesses. So obviously we have talked about the strengths, which are his reading and writing, his strengths are math, and then his weaknesses are reading and writing. So what we would want to do is take him out of his reading and writing from his when he has his reading and writing during the day. We want them to pull him out and work on that with him one-on-one versus being in the classroom where he would be for math. So we're not taking him out of math. We're keeping him in math since he is excelling in math. But all we're doing is taking him out for reading and writing and working with him one-on-one when they're working on that in class. So an overall summary would be his reading and writing needs work, and his math is perfectly fine. So I think where we go from here is just taking him out when he's doing reading and writing in his classroom and seeing how that goes. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know. But I think we are done here. I just want to thank you all for coming to this eval meeting and being a part of this eval team.